Hello and welcome back to my blog Diabetes Together with me, Mark Irwin. So today's video is all about sort of managing type 1 diabetes at work or school. So it's obviously a very stressful illness or disease, whatever you want to call it, and it can be really tough in places like work, school, you know, and I thought as I've been diabetic for many years and I've never not had a job, I might be very good at sort of talking about, you know, what tips and tricks I've got for you in terms of managing your illness at work. Okay, so we'll start with number one. Okay, so plan your day, and that means anything from, you know, essentially what you're eating in the day. So I always advise that you take your own food in with you to work if you can, where possible. But if you do eat from the cafe or the bistro, or you go out and get something from a shop, you need to get good at carb counting, because there's nothing more essential than avoiding hypos than making sure you're taking the correct insulin dose as you inject for your meals. So breakfast and dinner, and possibly even tea if you're at work later on. Making sure that you know what you're eating and you're planning before you go to work what you're eating and how many carbohydrates are in that particular meal. Get your bolus rates right as well. Some people are on different bolus rates for different parts of the day. So for example, myself, I'm on 1 to 12 in the morning, around 1 to 10 around lunchtime, and 1 to 8 in the evening as well. So getting your bolus rates right is absolutely essential, and planning for what you're going to eat at work as well, snacks, main meals and stuff like that. Now that doesn't mean you can't eat anything outside of what you've planned. It just means that you've got a good idea for when you're injecting and how you're adjusting your dose and how much dose you're taking. So it's extremely crucial that you sort of plan your day. You know exactly what you're doing, what your schedule is, and where you're going to fit your meals in. Exactly plan what times you're going to have your meal. So you've got a break at 1 o'clock for your dinner. Then make sure that you're adjusting for taking insulin 15 minutes before if required, and you're testing your blood sugar. Take your insulin, back to work for a bit, and then back on your lunch, and you know, eat what you were meant to eat. So I always advise that you plan your day, because then you know exactly what's going to happen, and you're likely then to avoid any horrible high blood sugars after meals, or any hypos, which can be even worse and can completely destroy the working day. So I advise that you plan for your meals, and plan you know, your insulin rates. If you're on a pump, you can reduce your basal, for example, or if you're taking an injection, you can reduce your basal the night before if you know you've got a really busy day, such as, you know, going off on a field trip or going somewhere where it's going to be quite active. Or you might be the opposite side, you might be in the office for tomorrow, for example, and you might need to increase your basal rate because you're just sitting down all day looking at the computer. So planning your day is absolutely essential. That goes for all kind of things, not just diabetes, but in particular with diabetes, we have to be a lot more careful about what we eat, when we eat, and how we eat, and how much insulin we take. So I always advise that you plan the night before. I'm going to have this for breakfast, this for dinner, and this for tea, and these are the snacks I'm going to take. I know the carbs, I know how much to inject myself with or take on my pump. I'm sorted, and it always helps then you know what to sort of follow, and you can track any trends that you pick up from that particular plan as well. Okay, number two is obviously carrying a day pack. So obviously I did a video separate to this the other day, what to carry around here as a type 1 diabetic at all times. I'm not going to go for this now, but obviously if you're at work, I suggest you go and watch that video, and that is what I carry around with me at all times at work. I take it everywhere with me. I'm a teacher, so when I'm in the classroom, I take it to the classroom. It's got everything in that I need, insulin pens, needles, you know, my pump, PDM, blood test meter, everything, hypo treatment. I can't advise enough that you carry hypo treatment around with you. Have what you need for the whole day and more when you're at work, because you never know what could happen. You could break down on the way home, you have a long journey home, for example, and you might run out of insulin, or you might run out of hypo treatment and find yourself unstuck. So make sure that you take a day pack with you, with a couple of needles, a couple of spare needles, a couple of extra insulin vials, a blood test meter and as standard, and some, you know, plenty of hypo treatment. I take a couple of packs of dextrose. I have a pack of dextrose in my pocket at all times, and I've got loads of sweets knocking around the office and in my car as well. So take everything that you need with you in a nice little sort of pack like this, or a bag, whatever you need. for the day, and make sure you've got that with you at all times. Take it everywhere, meetings and everything, you know, just embrace your diabetes, take it with you. It's your life support. You know, if you're having a hypo or you need more insulin, for example, you've got high blood sugar, having that with you at all times in the day can drastically help your control and avoiding any awkward moments in work where you go hypo and you don't want to. Yeah, so always take that day pack with you and carry it around with you in your work bag or whatever you need to do. And I advise that you do that because it's, you know, it's going to increase your control and it's going to improve your work day as well. Number 3, tell everyone. Don't shy away from telling people. Make sure people know that you're diabetic. If you've got a manager, they should know that you know you're diabetic, and they should be able to adjust for that. It comes under the obviously Discrimination Act, this Disability Discrimination Act, that you know the employer must make reasonable adjustments for your disability or illness. And I think as long as you tell your employer, then they will work with you and make sure that you're okay in the workplace. They'll make adjustments. They have to do this. It's the law. So if you're having a hypo and you can't perform your job, then they must make reasonable adjustments in terms of helping you get through the day and getting back on track at work. Okay. So what I would always advise is make sure everybody knows that you've got diabetes. And I think co-workers, for myself it's students all know that I'm diabetic. Everyone should know. It's not 100% likely that you're ever going to have an incident where you collapse from a hypo. Most people have hypo awareness. If you don't, then obviously that's something you need to look at with your hospital. But you know, telling people that you're diabetic is extremely crucial because it will obviously make people aware of it, and if anything went wrong or you needed to leave for any reason, they probably know why then, and you can sort of, you don't have any awkward moments with your boss coming into you saying, hang on, where were you at such and such a time? You know, make sure you tell as many people as you can in whatever way you can. Inform your boss, inform your workplace, because you're not going to come in under any trouble then, are you? And I think it's just one of them things that it's one of the things that people should know. If you're diabetic, people should know about it because it's crucial. Tip number 4 is get a freestyle Libre. In whatever way you can, get a freestyle Libre. It's absolutely amazing at managing diabetes at the workplace. Okay, so I've gone from using a blood test meter 10 times a day, which is almost impossible when I'm teaching all day, to now being able to sort of just simply scan really quickly on my phone, and it's telling me my blood sugar straight away. It's really essential that you know that you're tracking your blood, and it can be really difficult if you're using a blood test meter to pull it out and put the needle in and check, and the Libre is really good because you can scan. People don't even know what you're doing if you're using your phone, and it'll tell you, if you're 6 or 7 and you think I'm generally going to be okay. If it's telling you you're going to go hypo or you're going high, then you need to check your blood. But the Libre I can test 2 times a minute if I need to. Some ridiculous amount of testing I've done in the past few months because of the Libre. I've just scan, and at work that's essential. Now I know it's not available for everybody on an NHS yet. I think it will eventually become available, and you do have to meet the criteria, but I do advise that you do get one as soon as you possibly can because it is life-changing, and especially managing your diabetes in the workplace. You can be in the middle of a meeting, pull your phone out and just scan, and you're alright. I can't explain how helpful that's been to me. So in whatever way you can, even if you buy one, or just pester your doctor or your healthcare team to say that you need one, because it is a stupidly life-changing thing, the freestyle Libre, and I can't say that enough. It's amazing. Okay, tip number 5, keep spare insulin at work. I cannot stress enough how important it is that you've got your insulin with you at all times. It's so easy. I could forget this. That's my day pack, as I said. I could forget it. It's not hard. I just leave the house in a rush and I've forgotten to take it. And if you get to work, particularly if you've got a long commute and you've forgotten your insulin, then that's it. Your work day's over. You're not going to stay in work and not take any insulin because that would be dangerous. So take spare insulin, leave it in work, in the fridge, anywhere, wherever you can, and don't ever go to work without having that spare insulin there. I keep a couple of pens at work. I keep a couple of pens in my car as well, and I carry obviously my insulin around with me too. Make sure you've got spare insulin. It is so easy to come unstuck, and that would just end your day in work. You'd have to go home, wouldn't you? And if you've got a long commute, you know what I'm talking about. So make sure you've always got your spare insulin at work somewhere, even if it's in someone else's fridge and it's just got your name on it on a pack. Make sure you take spare insulin, because it's so easy to forget your pack or your bag or whatever. We've all done that. I've done it quite regularly. But take spare insulin, and you know you're not going to come unstuck. If you forget your blood test meter, it's not the end of the day. You know, you could probably get by without a blood test meter really for a few hours. But if you don't take your insulin, you know, it's a disaster. It's an absolute disaster. So make sure you keep spare insulin. And the final point is take a day off. Okay, sometimes we forget how serious diabetes can be, and sometimes, you know, you just don't have a good day with it because it's just one of them illnesses that can completely throw you out the water. We can be under the most amazing control, and then the next day we might just have a really bad day where we grab ketones, or we've got really high blood sugars, or we're having repeated hypos overnight. And I think if that's the case and you really don't feel like going to work, then you need to say to yourself, I don't feel good here, I'm not comfortable going to work, I'm going to take a day off. It's an illness, and if you're sick, if you're having repeated hypos or really high blood sugar, or you're just generally not well and that's affecting your diabetes, take the day off. There's nothing more important than your health in this world. And I think if you risk going to work when you're having repeated hypos or you've got ketones in your system, then you're risking all kinds of further complications. Take a day off. It's not the end of the world. Work will be there when you go back. You can have a chat to your managers or your bosses and say, look, I'm sorry it happened, I'm going to try and improve, or it was just a random occurrence. Don't ever go to work if you feel like you're really, really struggling with your diabetes. I've done it before. It's not nice. I've gone in after I've been up all night having repeated hypos, and it's just felt like rubbish all day, and I've got nothing done anyway. So yeah, take a day off. Make sure that you're comfortable with what you can sort of get away with, I suppose. Contact work and tell them, look, I can't come in today because I'm really not having a good time with diabetes. It's a valid reason for being off work if you're unwell or you're having hypos or high blood sugars. So absolutely make sure you take a day off if you do need it. And that's my 6 top tips for managing diabetes at the workplace. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please just give me a big thumbs up on YouTube, and I'd also like to subscribe if you can. I love to see comments on my videos so I can reply and see if I can provide you with any support, or you provide me with some support. You might have disagreed with some of the things I said, or you might have further points to say. Head over to Twitter as well. It's T1D together on Twitter, just at T1D together, and I'm sharing things on there as well, just articles and comments and stuff like that, and how I'm getting on with the insulin pump. It is Hypo Awareness Week this week, so yeah, big thumbs up to Hypo Awareness Week. It's very important that we are aware of hypos. I will be putting a video up this week about treating hypos effectively. So I will see you tomorrow evening when I'm going to give an update on the Omnipod. So I'm doing that every couple of days, so that'll be tomorrow evening, a quick update on how I'm getting on. Thank you very much for watching.